Just to note that we are in the second time around on learning Hilchot Borer from the Tzurba. We have expanded on some more stuff that we didn't do in the past. The fact that the previous time that we learned it, we did it in 3 shiurim. And this time we're already up to shiur number 4 in Hilchot Borer. So we are going a little bit more in depth, taking a little more time to analyze. Today, we'll be starting on page 35 in volume 19. Good news, I mentioned it already, but I'll mention it again. We're recording, so Baruch Hashem, we got the new Sefer, volume 20. We got volume 20, we ordered it. Some of the topics that are going to be mentioned starting next week already is going to be personal care on Shabbat, such as using hot water, using cold water, washing a baby, soap, using a towel, combing the hair, braiding the hair, makeup, and other stuff like that. Halachot of animals on Shabbat, bless you, biting insects and other stuff like that. And then we start towards the end, Shir 5, 6, and 7 in here on halachot of mukseh. So you always have the question, muksa, what you can do, what you can't do. So we'll get into all of that good stuff as we continue here in the Tzurba Rabbanan series. So let's start our Hazara now in Hilchot Borer. We are on page 35. And we were talking about sort of how to circumvent issues of Borer. Okay, so the first thing we had to define if there was a mixture, right? That's what we ended off last week with. If something is very visible, right? Something is recognizable. So then it's not a mixture there, because a mixture, when things are mixed up and it takes some tircha to get it out, that's when you have a mixture. Right. So now, how we continue now about removing something from a liquid. Okay, so the question that the Maharit Tats deals with is an insect fell into a cup of wine, or a cup of water, whatever it is. And you want to remove now the insect. Now, if it is a mixture, the insect is
Dvora.
What is it? It's not the ochel.
It's a psolet.
Psolet. You're not allowed to take the psolet from the ochel, right?
Right.
So what's the story? How do you deal with the insect that fell into the cup?
I could see like it might be disgusting. So
listen what he says. Hatam shenera lenyosdati lahatir b'tziro dafka mishum the ein derech mishamer bekach, because it's not filtering. When it comes to liquid, says the Maritans, the only border situation you have is if you are filtering. If you're not filtering, then there is no bar. When it comes to liquid stuff, to do bar, you have to do filtering. When it comes to dry things, then you do bar choosing. All right?
Yeah.
So, so taking out a fly from a cup, it's not bayer.
It's not shayach.
It's not shaykh.
Exactly.
In order to do selection to liquids,
it's not part of the food.
You have to filter it, says the Manitats. That's what's considered selection by liquids. If you're not filtering and you're just removing the fly from the cup, that's not considered borer. Okay, that's what he says over here.
So it could be the same thing with the regular food. Let's say you have food and you have a stone, pieces of stone inside the food.
It's dry.
Dry.
So yeah. Then you have borer. Then you have borer.
But it's not shayach to the food.
No, that's not. He's saying the process of selection by hand doesn't apply to liquids. In order to do selection by liquids, you have to use a filter. If it's not a filter, it's not considered selecting by liquids.
Liquid only filter.
Mm-hmm. Right. The Hamdat Yamim continues on this. And he says as well, when the zvuvim, they fall inside, you're allowed to remove them. As the Maritat said, does not apply to liquids. And then he adds on, ve'od, top of page 36. The loy shaykh breira el l'mashet tzarich lepashvesh v'livrar. And what you have to search and sort. Remember that tircha part that you need to do. Aval davar shetzaf lemala. This insect is floating to the top. Kvar bar vein. It's already separated. Vein zebar. It's already separated, so you're not separating it. It's the insect is. Remember, we said that a mixture has to be a mixture. That you have to do some sort of work to get it out. Here, the fly's already been separated for you. It's on the top, so you're not doing any sort of borer, and therefore it'd be permissible to take the fly out just like that. Not borer.
Yeah, you have a liquid, mostly liquid soup.
Yeah.
Understand, you have a fly on top. What if you have like a pea soup or something? There's old peas, beans, and everything all over the top of the soup even.
Right.
So it's not just a fly. It's a bunch of little
Okay.
pieces of the.
So what's the question?
So it's not just liquid and solid. I mean,
Oh, you're saying now there's other pieces in there.
So you have to make
So maybe now it's effort. So maybe that will be a bar situation. Because remember the whole thing is by liquid you have to do filtering to select. But now you're not dealing just with liquid anymore. If you have other pieces in there, it's not liquid anymore. So then it's also a selection between pieces. So then it is bar.
But it tells you also.
Here we're dealing strictly with the liquid.
It's tough. It tells you
It floated to the top.
the insect. Tough.
Right. That was the addition of the Hamdat Yamim.
Yeah.
He says it's already been separated for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to figure it
Okay.
out.
Now, all is good and well till we come to the Taz. Right, we've already seen once that Taz is very machar when it comes to Bora, right? He's the one who said that Bora is by all other items as well, right? In the Rishonim, you don't see that. But the Taz said it applies everywhere, right? There was never saying we only see this in the Mishmedrash of the Taz that there is here comes the Taz again being machmer when it comes to Bora. So he writes that according to the Ravan, there should be an Isser. Kishenoi from Zuvim Lakais. Shliyoitzi Zuvim Levada Minakais. Why? It's taking out the solid. Yikach Minamashke Kitzat Imahin. So what's the Taz's advice? He says removing the fly might be considered boring, and you have to be machmer. So what should you do? You should remove some of the liquid with the fly, because now you didn't separate the fly from the liquid. You've removed it with the liquid. It's not considered separating anymore.
What
You're
page?
taking it together. Volume 19, page 36.
Take the fly, it's always water with it, something with it. But you,
Yeah.
no way that even if you
It's
take
very
it
hard
apart,
to figure it
it's
out.
still
Or
water.
take it in your hand.
Even with your hand, irrelevant. It's always
No,
something
it's not
with
gonna
water.
be.
It always with
You take it
liquid.
with your hand, you're
Yeah.
taking just that. You're not taking the liquid. You
No.
can't hold liquid.
Right.
No, you're not holding the liquid. The liquid is attached to the.
No, it has to be. It has
But
to
it's
be.
not-
It has to be liquid that's not
Yeah.
just on the fly. It has to be
Sure,
liquid
again,
that you're taking
Yeah,
out with
but
it.
yeah.
It has to be liquid that it's liquid, not the stuff that's attached to the fly.
אתה לוקח את זה, מה
It has to
שאומר
be
אתה.
liquid that you're taking out.
ביחד, ביחד.
Right, not just the wet fly. It has to be actual liquid that comes
This
out with
is
it.
like most the olam doing, taking some with it, some liquid with it.
Okay. Okay. So that was the Taz. The Bir Hetiv quotes the Amitat and the Taz, and he cites the Ada Haron, who writes that the leniency of the Maharitat is unconvincing. The Mishnah Berurah also rules strictly in accordance with the Taz. Like Rabbi Haim said, everybody takes it out with a little bit of liquid. But Chacham Ovadia and Hazon Ovadia, he rules leniently. Let's see what he says. We have it in front of us, page 37, source 25. He writes, "Kos yain shnafel b'zvov, tzira mutar la'asira b'yadoy, all yedei chafit." Okay, even with the spoon. Ki ein derech breira belach. There is no borer by liquids. Eil mishamer belach. You have only filtering by liquids, and you have borer with dry things. Right, shein derech belach. V'gam et tzira, you can take it out. V'yesh cholkim. V'oisim lahaser d'zvul levadoy dehavilei kevar p'soilus el tzarech shebekav shehu masiro yikach imoy ketzat min hamashke. He should take some with the liquid. Who was that? That's the Taz. Then he says, you should do it like the Taz, like the Mishnah Berurah, with a little bit of the water. That's the better way to do it. But if you want to be Mako, like the Svar Rishona, and just take out the fly with your hand, Yesh lo al ma yismaich. You have what to rely on. Okay? So turns out the Me'ikar Hadin, taking things out of a liquid, right? With your hands is not going to be considered bora. Because to do bora on a liquid, you have to do filtering. And this is not considered filtering, removing something with your hand. However, it's good to be machmer and to use to take the spoon with some of the liquid and the fly, not to just take the fly alone.
When you have a tea bag,
Yeah.
you're taking that out with all the bag.
Yeah.
Although you have some water with it, but you just take it out.
Okay, so that's the next page. On page 38, we're gonna deal with the tea bag. We're gonna deal with the tea bag in 1 minute. On page 38, we have the tea bag.
Another question.
Yeah.
Regards to wine. The filter really is like to air out the wine. Know what I'm talking about?
No.
Such like a filter.
Uh-huh.
You pour the wine into,
Right.
and the cup is underneath, and you just to air out the wine.
Airs
to get a
out the
better
wine.
flavor to expand the flavor, you know? To air out the wine, you know what I'm talking about?
Airy.
Yeah, so you do that. Is that considered filtering?
So we'll see.
Is it
We'll see.
correct,
We'll
or is
see.
that-
We'll see.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into filtering what can be done, what can't be done. But good questions. Okay. Now,
Turn on the faucet.
It's custom.
Okay. okay, listen to this, Rabotai. The Shvitat HaShabbat,
Built in,
the Shvitat HaShabbat says,
part of the pot. Pot.
oh wait, before we continue there, I wanted to say something outside. Okay. Okay, fine. We dealt with that. All right. Page 37, source 26. The Shvitat HaShabbat wants to say, Im neflu zvuvim lakos, if a fly falls into a cup, lo yotzi azvuvim levadan. Don't take out just the fly. Shareze kivoret. Psolet me'ochel. Sha'asur afilu kedei lochel miyad. רק ייקח גם ממשקה קצת עמהם, שאז אינו נראה כבאר. You have to take some of the liquid with that. Okay, so we saw this. This was the Taz. This is Mishnah Berurah. Chamabaji says that's a better way to do it also. But now he writes, "V'davka zvuvim v'chayotze b'zeh." It's only when we talk about flies and something like that. Why? Because sometimes they get mixed up in the liquid and they sink. Aval dvarim gedolim hanikarim, stuff that are big and unrecognizable, can be basar, right? And you have a piece of meat or sausage or vegetables, yirakas, akushim, right? Pickled vegetables, that they're in the tzir, they're in brine. You have no problem. We do not find that removing them from liquid is a prohibition of bara. It's not.
Part of the food.
No, what he's saying is, right, so what he's saying is, what the Maritatz was saying about the fly is really true. That what? That usually taking something from a liquid is not a problem. The only issue is flies are so small that you're right, filtering is needed by liquid. But when it's something so small, we say it looks like it's bora. It sometimes sinks, it's hard to get out, whatever it is. That's what he's saying. But he's saying big items that are in liquid, there is no bora there. There's no bora there. So, like the example, like you said, pickles. Take a look at the next one. The Orchot Shabbat, source 27, right? You have pickled cucumbers are not defined as being mixed with the water in the container. That means that I can pour out the water, right? I'm getting rid of the water that I don't want, and I can pour it out. Why? Because there's no mixture there. There's no mixture, Jeff, right? Let's take a look outside the tzurba for a moment.
Yeah, but sometimes they put in the pickle, they put some garlic, this and that, small pieces also. It's not only water and a big pickles, there are some small pieces also.
Okay,
That
but there's
was
no
the-
mixture there.
Corn.
Ah, so you're talking about smaller pieces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, smaller pieces.
I'm talking about pickles. You're talking about corn, kind of corn.
No, I'm saying you put in the pickle, to make it a good pickle, you put some garlic in there.
Sometimes that's
Small
it.
pieces
What are
of
you
garlic.
getting out?
What?
What's your intention here? You're getting the pickles. You're taking the corn out. You're taking,
Fill out
if
If
the
you're
water.
taking the
you're spilling out the water, there's no mixture there.
if
That's what
you're
we're saying.
taking the
If
pickle,
the-
you're taking to food to eat, so it's no
Okay, so
problem.
it's the pickle, right?
No,
So if
no
the,
problem.
what's the mixture here? That's the question.
So technically, I could take the pickle jar and put my hand over it and spill it over the juice.
Put your hand over it.
Yeah, so because there's no
Mhm.
boil.
Yeah, it's not a cleat, okay. Your hand's saying your hand's not a cleat, okay, and you're pouring it out.
It's not a clean because the
Yeah.
pickles are considered to be
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
mixture.
Okay, here, let me read it to you. It's permitted to pour, laws of Shabbat, page 360, laws of Shabbat, Rabbi Nachman's book. Yeah, eat. It's permitted to pour out the water from a pickle jar or from a can of pickles. And one does not have to take the pickles from the water, since the water and the foods are obviously two different entities and easily discernible. It's nikar. It's not a mixture. Who cares what? No, who cares which way you're taking it? There is no mixture. There is no issue of border in a jar of pickles with juice inside. That's the hidush here.
Just spill out the water. Just pickle it.
You can do any way you want. And borer. There's no borer in a pickle jar.
You're gonna get rid of the water. That's totally maybe. No problem. Also.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. There's no mixture here. Liquid and solid is not a mixture, especially when it's a big item. Okay. Here he can continue the laws of Shabbat. He writes over here. Similarly, one may take a matzah ball or a meatball from a soup or sauce or hard-boiled eggs from water, even if you don't plan on eating them right away. There's no mixture here, so there's no issue of borer. Outside the Torah, I'm reading the laws of Shabbat. Okay? So taking out a hard-boiled egg, a matzah ball from a soup, and all these things, there's no issue here whatsoever to take them out. There is no borer. These things are big items in a liquid. There's no borer over here. Okay?
Fill out the water, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
Holding it back.
Yep. Yep.
Because the fast,
You
if
can't.
do
You
like
can't.
Oh,
whatever comes out.
I think
You
it's
can't
also
use. I know you
because-
can't put something else over it, like an item.
Yeah, putting something over. There's no mixture based on what you just
No,
said.
but you're using as a keli.
What Katie?
If there's no borer, it's not candy. You just said.
There is no issue of borer.
So you can even store it mitoch ochel.
You can.
Because there's no borer.
Right.
Go ahead. And not use the candy.
It's not that of it.
I have to look back at that. I hear what you're saying. You're saying there's no mixture, so why can't I use the keli? I hear you. Okay, it's a good question.
I think it's because
No,
the
we learned
liquid,
last time we
the
learned.
liquid
Not
is
definitely
not a
use the
food.
canned,
Right.
No, because also the liquid is not a
Hold
food.
Because you're making it a keli.
You learn it.
But that's what you're making it a keli when there is an issue of borer. But here they're saying there's no issue of borer, so why can't I use the lid?
Now it's working as the filter, whatever you call it. There's no mixture.
So he's saying now you're filtering.
Filtering or filtering, whatever. You're not. You said there's no mixture to begin with. Pickles and juice, not
Right,
mixture.
right. It's
So
not a
even if I-
mixture.
Even if I put something, why am I filtering?
I hear you. It's a good question. I think you're saying right.
No, but maybe also because the liquid of this.
One second. Let me see over here.
pickles,
Hold on.
It's not a food.
Wait
It's
a
only
minute.
to hold
People
the,
drink
to hold
it.
to hold the pickle. No, most of the people don't. drink.
The issue here is we're saying it's not a mixture. That's what we're saying.
No. Most of the people. Some people.
not a lot, but people drink.
Some people are a little bit crazy. They drink, but the regular people they don't drink.
Yeah, you would be right. You're allowed to use it. Yeah. As an example, he says an apple core, right? An apple core goes in and takes out the middle of the apple, right? So he says an apple core may be used because the apple is taken along with the core, right? So it's sort of a keli, and you're taking out the middle of the apple, the part you don't want, but you're taking out with something else also. If he's saying it's not an issue and he's using that, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not entirely sure.
That's maybe like a potato peel, like a peel, how you call it, the tool. It's specifically designed for that. No, that's why it's allowed, because that thing is allowed for.
Yeah, so maybe this, and maybe he's saying no. Hey, let's see over here. Skimming off the cream entirely from the milk without removing some of the milk together with the cream is never permitted. This holds true even if the cream is desired. And even if it's meant to be immediate use, because the spoon is considered a case, so he's saying it's a mixture over there. But it's not a mixture. The cream is all the way on top.
No,
Still,
but
it's,
it
it's,
is-
it's a cream.
You,
It's
you
part of
cannot
the
take
cream.
it without skim it. You cannot.
Pickle is.
You have to skim it.
You're saying it's separated because it's big pieces. Divide.
Okay, there are undesired noodles or rice in the soup. One may spoon out the noodles or rice together with the soup, with some of the soup.
Small pieces.
Okay.
You have the liquid inside.
He's saying it together. He's doing the whole thing.
אני לא יודע מה הגדר של גדול.
מים שלו זה לא לשתייה.
All right. Okay. Let's read a little further. Hold on. I will tell you. That's a good question. If you can use something on top of it to pour out.
Brine of pickle is something else, and corn.
So okay. So let's go back to what we were saying.
And corn.
So we have the pickle jar, right? So what we were saying was the pickle jar, the liquid and the pickle are not considered a mixture. That's what we were saying. The question now is, how can I pour out the liquid? Can I just pour it out, or can I use something on top of it to pour it out? So that's a question that needs some tarichin over there. But definitely it's not considered a mixture. What else I wanted to bring down here? Hold on. G, let's see. G, we see. Okay, H, F, and H. Okay. So now comes the question: is this, I will say? What? So I said pickle and pickle brine, right? The juice that comes. What about olives? What's the difference? What's olives and pickles?
Olive is better.
Olives are never as big as pickles. I haven't yet seen an olive as big as a pickle.
Olive and pickle are the same thing.
What? The size plays a difference. Remember, we said the whole idea here was the Shevitat Shabbat said the fly, perhaps it's small, it's running around. Therefore, I say take it out with some of the liquid. But the cucumber in the pickle jar, that's big enough. It's not considered a mixture. Therefore, you can do whatever you want. Take it whichever way you want. The question now is, what about olives? It's the same thing. So the Revisted Shabbat Malka, he writes, it's good to be strict when it comes to olives or anything that's smaller than a walnut. So apparently, anything smaller than a walnut, according to the Revisted Shabbat Malka, that's already considered small enough that it could be considered a mixture. Okay. However, it seems Hazon Ovadia that one can be lenient even with something as small as olives. In fact, we saw he held the same is true by flies, which are much smaller than olives. Right? He said you can just pull it out. Right? You can just pull it out. So Yesh Lachmer, but Chamavadi would say that it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem. What else? Okay, one may remove a cork or bottle cap that fell into the bottle or some other liquid. Again, it's a big piece that's there. It's recognizable, so it's not considered a mixture. Okay, so we have to come back to that idea if you can spill out the juice using a lid or something like that, because it's not an issue of a bar. I'm leaning to not, just because it turns out you're making a keli, even though it's not bar, but it's a keli for bar. You are, even though it's not an issue of bar. So I'm leaning to say no, but we'll have to. I'll ask around. I'll see what they say.
So when you have a can of corn, and you want to spill out the water before using the corn, you just like you said, you take the lid. You can't take the lid, whatever.
No lid. Let's say not using the lid. You're just spilling it.
Just spilling with your hand. You're using
Yeah.
hand,
Okay.
And you just go out.
So we said from Chamavadia that.
Olives.
Yeah. So Chamavadia, Maker Adin would say no. It's not considered bar, because
You said the olive side is
No, we said Halichot Shabbat Malkat says anything less than a walnut, it would be considered a mixture. But Chamavadia, he said you could even take a fly out of a liquid, and it's not considered bar. So anything that's small, even corn that's small.
This is not considered a mixture. That's
Yeah.
why you think
Yeah. Okay. On page 38, we deal with the issue that Pinchas brought up before. What about the tea bag? Okay, what's the issue with the tea bag? You put the tea bag into liquid, and now you're pulling the tea bag out. What happens when you pull the tea bag out?
Take some water with it.
And then what happens?
It comes by itself. It's not like.
Okay, I'm holding the tea bag over my tea. What happens now?
Some drops come
Oh,
down.
so it's starting to
yeah, but
filter back inside to my cup. Okay.
Right, but this comes made up.
You're not
It's
mucking
not
up
like you're
everything.
doing it.
So you leave some.
Okay.
That's
So
only,
here he writes.
Get all the water out.
Here he writes the idea is as follows. Or Chachabat, shaking out the tea bag after removing it, or leaving in the air so the essence in it should drip into the vessel. It's forbidden, as this is borer. You now filter the water through the tea bag and it's coming back down. If one does not leave the tea bag, but merely takes it out, even though the drops drip from the bag, this filtering happening by itself, so it's not a problem. Okay, so right, that's an issue. Yeah, that's the problem. If he's holding it on dafka on purpose for it to
10
come
minutes,
down.
nobody does
Yeah,
that.
no, even if it's not 10 minutes, but he's dafka holding it on top.
But again, even if you're holding it on
I
top,
see, now,
the
some
fact
may
is
not.
that you don't get rid of all the water. If you're getting rid of all the
No.
water, that's what he says. The condition is.
No. Here, let me read it from the laws of Shabbat. It's permitted to pick up a tea bag from a cup of tea, even though picking up the tea bag causes causes the tea to be separated from the leaves inside the bag. Although one should preferably take the tea bag out with the spoon, take it out together. Even according to the lenient opinions, it would not be permitted to squeeze the bag or hang it over the cup in order for the remaining flavor from the tea bag to drip into the cup. Rather, one should remove it immediately. Okay.
Yep.
The issue is a dripping back, even for right. So here you go. Yeah, so they're taking out the liquid with that.
Okay, we're not
This
talking
is the
we're not
best
talking
way.
about the fact that you just let go.
If
Yeah.
Let go.
if
Right?
you take it
It's in
just
the water,
like
it's in
this,
the water,
Yeah.
and now you're taking it out like this.
if you
But the reason why you hanging it over it, that's because you don't want to spill it all over the place. So you're hanging it over.
So
for
we're
like
saying
2
not to do
seconds.
that. We're saying not to do that.
Yeah, but why not?
Saying
no, but he says it's okay.
take it out and immediately throw it out.
No.
Get ready to throw. Go to the garbage can wherever you're throwing it out,
What
in and out.
What are we looking not to do? We're looking not to do is to filter.
Right.
Right? Nobody has an intent to filter.
Right.
And to get all the, and so we're saying if the tea bag is still soaked, therefore it's okay, it's permitted. It takes me 2 seconds to get rid of some of the water because you don't want the water on my books or on my table. So I'm just hanging in there for 2 seconds. So the water is dripped out, but not because I want the water in filtering what the water is. It's just to get, to prevent the mess. And then I'm throwing it out. And there's still water inside the tea bag. So it's not really preventing the water from being filtered.
No,
It's not the way I understood halakha.
No, but he says over here, you could do it, but don't leave it for a long time. For a few seconds, yes, and then because then it goes me'elav.
I didn't understand that like that. I understood it that you have to throw it out immediately. Meaning,
it says over here, כיוון שהסינון נעשה מאליו.
right?
נעשה
No, what
מאליו,
he's saying is as follows. This is what
it
he's saying.
comes by itself.
This is the way I understand it. Is that I'm going to the garbage can to throw it out. I pick it up, and as I'm picking it up to throw it to the garbage can, some of the drops are falling out by itself.
Right.
That's not a problem because my
Right.
Shabbat should throw it out.
Right.
He's saying that I have 10 steps to the garbage can and I pull it up and now I'm walking 10 steps and I don't want it to go anywhere else. That's not okay. That is filtering. You're letting it filter.
Yeah, it's too long. He says for a very short time.
Yeah, read it in the Hebrew. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think it defines it better. אסור לנער את השקית לאחר שהוציאה או להשרותה באוויר על מנת שהתמצית שבתוכה תנטף לכלי. That's the intent is that the water should go into the cup.
And what's your intent when you're walking with it?
That's not to make a mess. I don't care.
But where do you want it to go into?
I'm explaining.
Where do you want it to go into? You just said.
My intent is not that the water should go into the cup. If there was, let's say, there is a mechanism. Let's say you have like a type of you have the filters the Persians use, right?
You have the filter.
Imagine yourself, you have like a scoop like that, and you press a button, and that's it. It stops from leaking. I take it right away. I throw it out. I'm not going to look to spill out the water. It's just the fact is that the water, if I don't leave it over, it's going to be all over the place.
So I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to read you again the Lashon. I'm going to read you the Lashon of Sefer Chayon.
For a long time, it's not good.
I'm going to read. Again, I'm going to read the Lashon of the Chayon. He writes, rather one should remove it immediately. That's his Lashon. Immediately.
Immediately. I'm not using it for 20 seconds. I'm doing it for 5 seconds. What does immediately mean?
No, I think it's explaining.
I'm worried you have a garbage can next to the coffee.
What are you saying, Rami?
It's not talking about me. It's talking about home. I don't think garbage can next to me.
They can come next to garbage can, throw it like this. That's it.
He's just explaining why you would wanna, why.
Right, ואם אין השקית אלא רק נוטל לחוץ, הרי זה מותר. Ashram tapos tipos mitoich sakit kibon shin nasamel. It's happening by itself. Meaning, if it's happening by itself, right? I'm taking it out and it's dropping by itself. That's fine. I didn't. That's not my intention to make it drop back in. So our chiluk and nikuda of our argument is that 5 seconds, 10 seconds until I throw it out. What's that cold?
Just that it shouldn't make a mess. That's the only reason I'm doing that. Not to get all the flavor in.
What? That we dealt with already. Okay.
Follow-up question. I just bought something like this, but this size has holes all around it.
Yeah.
Because I heard that loose tea usually tastes better because there's more room to move around than tea bag, whatever's my mission. So I put the loose tea in here.
Leave tea,
Okay.
right? Tea leaves, yeah.
Tea leaves in here. And then this has like a little tab or something. It goes in the cup. It stays in there. And then after 2 minutes, I take it out.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, so I asked Rabbi Eliyahu. He said, "Yeah, whatever. That's so. It's the kli."
Okay.
To me, it seems very much like a tea bag. I don't see what really.
So what did he say? You can't use it on Shabbat?
Yeah, I sounds like.
So that's like the something someone was telling me the other day. You were talking about the French press, right? Which is similar to that idea, right? It's a similar thing.
Something for coffee.
It's a similar idea. It's also you put it in a keli or something, and you put it inside. So I actually looked up the French press thing, and the poskim were saying not to use it on Shabbat.
It's they put the coffee in and they like squeeze the water out or something like that.
So it's if we said not to use it, what was this? What's the difference in a bag and that?
I don't know. I mean, unless you tell me that the bag is not really kli and this is a kli. I mean, this is a kli, but the bag.
Bag is not a kli. Bag is just holding the tea bags. Not really separating it.
Okay, we let's move on. It's a good point. If you had psakim that not to use it, don't use it. The French press, we learned. I looked in it. They said not to use it either. So on Shabbat, you go with the old school tea bags, okay, or the tea essence. All right, let's move on, Rabotai, because we're running out of time and we really want to finish this up. Okay, peeling and detaching parts of food. Peeling. Can you peel a fruit on Shabbat? Is that considered taking away the psolit from the ochel?
Cucumber.
Can I peel?
Yeah.
So there's a Mishnah. No, this is a Gemara. Mesechet Be'ah Yud Gimel Amud Bet that says you can peel grains of barley and we peel them one and eat them. But if he peeled and placed it into his hand, then he has to bring maaser. And they said a similar halacha on Shabbat. That what? You can peel grains of barley one by one, but not a whole handful of grains. Because then that's going to be considered peeling. You're not allowed to peel, apparently. But then they say, but then in Rav's wife, Rav Chia's wife, they would peel cupfuls of barley on Shabbat. So what's the story with peeling? There's a Gemara that seems to say you can peel, and one Gemara says you can't peel. So what can you do, peeling or not? So the first Rishon that we bring down is Rabbeinu Hananel. And Rabbeinu Hananel says, if you go in the middle, after the 3 dots, in the middle of source 30 on page 39, Nimsa, Zair, Vabayr, V'Merake, Kulan, Ma'avim, Psayos, they all have what the Kulan, Ma'avim, Psayos, Miravis, it's mixed up with Oichel, Ve'ena Mechuberes, and they're not attached. Okay? In order to be a mixture, he's saying, it cannot be attached. If something is attached, then it's not a mixture. Going klipa, right? The peel, going, what's this dirt that requires beating, but only when it's mixed together. Okay, the Rebbeinu Hananel is very clear. The Rebbeinu Hananel says that if something's attached to something, it's not considered a mixture. It's only when there's pieces that are mixed up, then that's a mixture. So an apple peel is not considered a mixture according to Rebbeinu Hananel. Okay, now we have the Talmud Yerushalmi, and the Talmud Yerushalmi says those who grind garlic, when they grind the heads, they're doing the malacha of dash, and when they take off the peel, then they're chayiv mishum boyer. So says the Yerushalmi, peeling is considered borer. Well, so which one is it? You have your Yerushalmi and you have Rabbeinu Chananel. They're saying garlic, but they're saying peeling is borer. So the Smag, he writes that the one should not prohibit peeling garlic and onions in order to eat them immediately, based on the Yerushalmi. As that Yerushalmi does not speak of peeling in order to eat immediately, and it's only for this reason that it says the Yerushalmi that says you're not allowed to peel garlic, that's talking about eating it later. That's what the Yerushalmi is saying. To eat something later, you're not allowed to peel. So there is an issue of peeling. There is an issue of borer by peeling. That's the Smag. And the Bir Halacha, and he writes,
I would just like use any food on Shabbat. Everything that you have is oriented.
he's saying you can peel only for immediate use. Okay, so what happens is as follows: you have a babli that seems to be saying there's no issue of borer of peeling. Okay, so you had Rab's wife, your Bchia's wife; they're all peeling away on Shabbat. So the babli seems to be saying there's no issue of peeling. But Chananel says it clear: if something is attached, there's no borer there. Then your Shami says there is an issue of peeling. So the Smag says the chilik is if you're peeling for now, if you're peeling for later. If you're peeling for now, then that's fine. Now, why would that be okay? It's still sold mitoch ochel, but we'll have to deal with it. Probably it's derech achila. How's you gonna get the food? It's siluk, whatever you want to call it. But that's the way he understands the Bav and the Yerushalmi. Now, in the Bir Halacha, we could, but the Smag is not saying that. The Smag is saying that they're not arguing. And just in which case?
How many minutes or hours means later or now?
We said a half hour. Half hour is now. Anything past a half hour is considered later.
So you can't peel cucumbers in the morning, so you can make
right
later.
Right. Now, the Bir Halacha on the top of page 41, source 34, he says the Rambam doesn't mention this halacha of the Yerushalmi at all. Doesn't even bring this down. About peeling is only if it's for immediate. Doesn't bring it down. Yeah, it's not there. And says the Bir Halacha, if it wasn't for the Smag, I would have explained the Yerushalmi in a different way. And the Gemara thought originally that peeling is including lacha of borer, and this was the da'at of the Yerushalmi. But the maskana of the Bavli is that peeling is not borer. It's not considered malacha at all. Okay, so exactly like Riyagadi, you wanted to say. So why don't we say they're just arguing and we go with the Bavli? And that's the Bir Halacha says that's probably the Rambam paskin. The Rambam doesn't bring down this Yerushalmi at all. The Rambam saw the Yerushalmi, the Rambam saw the Bavli, and said the Yerushalmi is arguing with the Bavli, so we're going to take the Bavli, and there's no issue of peeling when it comes, no borer issue when peeling. Yeah. So now the Ramah writes, peeling garlic and onions in order to leave them for later is forbidden. But peeling in order to eat them immediately is permitted. So you have the Ramah is also going like the Smag. Okay. So you have a machloket over here. Which way to go over here? Right. The Aruch HaShulchan has another view of how to read it Yerushalmi. And he says the meaning is that no, the Chavetz Chaim is saying if it wasn't for these Rishonim and the Ramaz Psak, I would have explained the halacha this way. He's not saying to do it this way, but he's saying what he would have explained, like the Rambam, how it makes more sense. He says, Pasha, that's the easier way to understanding it, rather than saying that the Rishalmi and Bavli are not arguing and it's about now or later, right? So that's what the Bir Halacha is doing. Okay, now the Aruch HaShulchan says the Rishalmi is talking about a whole different case. The Rishalmi's case is that the guy has cloves of garlic and he grinds them together. Okay, so he's grinding cloves of garlic on Shabbat. And then, while he's grinding them, the peel of the garlics become mixed with the garlic. That's the case. The guy is grinding the garlic. Garlic has peels. He's grinding the garlic. So now the garlic comes out, but it's mixed with peels inside. And now he's coming to remove the peels. So he's saying that's the case of the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi's case was those who grind garlic, when they grind the heads, they're liable for the malacha of dash. And when they sort the peels, the malacha of barer. What barer? There's no barer by peeling. On peeling from something. It must be that the peels came off, and now they're removing the peels from the mixture of the garlic. Now you have a problem.
Usually you take the garlic out of the peel. Even if you did the dash, part, the bigger pieces are the garlic.
So the case here is the person took the peels out. That's the case.
No, garlic.
But look at he writes on page 42. Misha Kav Kol Shum Levadoi, right? He peels the garlic, each one separately. As it's done with onions, there's no dash and there's no bar. So he says if you do each one separately, there is no dash and there is no bar. The issue is when you did it together. Okay, that's when the issue is. Okay. In the box it says, understand the Aruch HaShulchan is consistent with Rabbeinu Chananel, that bar does not apply to items that are attached.
Yeah, because this is how Hashem created.
And Chamavadia also rules in this accordance, but he limits this. The Chamavadia limits this only to peels that are firmly attached, like peels of apples that are firmly attached to the fruit.
So what do you do with the oranges? Well,
Let's take a look. Chazon Avadia, source 37. Person peels tapuchim or tapuchei zahav or oranges or grapefruits and cucumbers and zucchini. The borer Revadel shaykh bo iser borer. Kivan sha klipa mechuveres boy mamash. Chater Rabbeinu Chananel and says Rabbeinu Chananel and the Mahari Barceloni, okay, and the Aruch V'Ami'iri, the Lo Shaykh Berera Bekach. There is no rare Bekach. So says Chamabadia, peels that are firmly attached, there is no issue of borer in that situation. No issue of borer in that situation.
Is included. Pomegranate also?
Pomegranate is firmly attached to the fruit. Yeah. If you say it isn't it? You have to, each case will be separate. Let's take a look here how we define some of the fruits so you have an idea of how the fruits are defined. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so pomegranate is putting with garlic and onion. It's permissible to peel a clove of garlic and onion or a pomegranate or any other fruit, whether by hand or with a knife, so long as one plans to eat the fruit immediately. Okay, so the pomegranate you only peel if you're about to eat it. But if a fruit's like a pear, okay, what's the difference between a pear and a pomegranate? Okay, right. And what's the difference between an apple and a pomegranate? Think about the fruit. Define the fruit. Is the peel firmly attached to the seed, to the fruit inside the pomegranate? No, it's not. An apple, the peel is directly on top of the fruit. It's one fused. It's fused together. The seeds inside, the fruit inside the pomegranate are not together with the peel. You understand? It's different. You understand the difference? The apple and the peel are one connected piece. Completely connected. If I can get inside the pomegranate without opening it up, I can remove all the fruit inside without touching the peel. I can't do that with an apple because the apple and the peel are directly onto each other. They're fused together. That's the difference. That's how you have to look at it. So if it's fused together the fruit with the peel, then there is no issue of bar. But if the fruit is not fused together with the peel, so then we issue of bar.
But both of them we say
peels are bonded to the fruit inside.
Both of them we say is only la'ata.
No.
Hey, so what's the banana?
Listen, it's permissible to peel them on Shabbat, talking about cucumbers, apples, even well in advance of the time one wishes to eat them. Because there's no border. There's no mixture here. Again, there is no mixture here when the peel is fused to the fruit. You can do it hours in advance. Okay? This is the Yalkut Yosef right here. I'm reading the Yalkut Yosef right over here. And he writes it right over here. Loi shaykh b'zeh din b'ayir klar. L'chem mutter l'kolfam afilu al dat la'nicham le'echol b'sudas ha'erev. L'fnei tzeit ha'shabbat. Okay? Okay. What about now bananas? I don't understand this one, so this one you have to explain to me. So he talked about bananas. Now, what would you define a banana? Is it fused to the thing or not? But look what he writes over here. You're gonna have to explain this to me. I don't understand it. But he writes, banana. Peeling the banana is no bar. ויש להקב זה אפילו מקרב עם הבננה על מנת להניח לביור ואין אוכלים לאלתר. But why? And even if you don't want to eat it right now, if you want to peel a banana for later, why? Is the banana firmly attached?
Rip the snack.
So you're saying it's like siluk. It's removing to get to the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, it says over here.
So why pomegranate is borer?
No, it says also what? The pomegranate you're not allowed to eat in Shabbat?
You're allowed to eat it, you have to eat it right away.
Okay.
Why banana you don't have to eat right away? Well, what's the chiluk? He doesn't explain the chiluk. Why banana is different than a pomegranate?
He says over here, ונראה כיוון דאי אפשר בעניין אחר ודרך אכילתו בכך לא מקרי פסולת בתוך אוכל שאינו אלא לאכול התוך בכל שהוא לאלתר שער. אומר שאין ברירה זה אוכל.
Yeah. Read Samach Gimel over here. Right on top over here.
No, I was reading.
I know what you mean. Read Samach Gimel over here.
סמך גיב.
Yeah.
והוא הדין שמותר לקלף בננה, ואין בזה כל חשש משום בורר, שהרי אינו יכול להגיע לפרי בלי הקילוף, והבא דרך אכילה, ויש להקל בזה אפילו אם קולף את הבננה על מנת להניח בו ביום, ואינו אוכלם לאלתר. Yeah, and
Why?
what?
Why? I don't
Why?
understand it. I don't understand the banana part. Why is it permitted to do the banana? Banana,
It says,
I would.
look, listen to the.
I hear what he said.
No,
But come
no,
here.
no, but he said, שהרי אינו יכול להגיע לפרי בלי הקילוף. How are you going to eat the banana if you are not going to open it?
How am I eat the pomegranate if I'm not going to open it?
What?
How am I going to eat the pomegranate if I don't open it?
Anything.
No, but he says pomegranate. But I'll show you what he says about the pomegranate. Hold on. By the pomegranate, he said you can't open it unless you're eating it right away.
The Biur Halacha says the same thing. It says if you, if you have to get
Read
to the
Samach. Read Samach right over here. Right there. Samach.
Samach. מותר לקרב בשבת שום או בצד,
או
רימון ושאר פירות או ביצים, ביד או בסכין על מנת לאכול לאלתר, מיד.
So why?
Yeah.
What's the chilik? Why is the banana different than the rimon and the garlic and the onion? So he's saying garlic has pieces inside, and onion has pieces inside, and a rimon has pieces inside. That's what you're saying. Whereas a banana is one entity with a packaging, and I can open the package in advance.
Defining the mixture and separating them. Here, even if you open the pomegranate, you still have a mixture. You still have to start dividing them. By a banana, once you open, that's it. You don't have anything else to do.
I hear you.
No, but I think he's only not explaining over here. It's not because it's not the same thing. Over there he explains more, over here he explains less. But I think it's the same thing.
That what?
To my understanding.
But he says it before. He says, "Rimon, you can't peel it in advance." Whereas
right,
הוא אומר,
but
זה
it's-
אתה.
זה מה שאני אומר, זה מה שאני אומר. אני
אבל
אומר-
שם הוא אומר לא, בננה אומר לא
אבל זה
נעשה,
אותו
גם
דבר.
אתה יכול לעשות את זה גם
אני-
בלילה.
הבנתי,
So-
אבל...
Sarahin on this as well. Apparently, banana you can open in advance. Pomegranate you can't. Okay. Again, requires some further research on that.
It's not saying only pomegranate, it's also she'ar perot. It means
Ken.
also other perot.
Other
It means-
peot
other
where the peel is not fused to the fruit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What was another example of a peel that's not fused to the fruit? Yeah, that's not directly with the fruit. He says orange is considered. Yeah. And he said orange is considered like an apple. I know, but he says it's not. He says it's considered together. Yeah.
look, the shum I understood because the shum,
So I again,
Batan
it
also
seems
the-
to be.
the-
I think we're missing a step. I don't know what the step is, but I think we're missing a step because. Yeah. But it's fused. The fruit is fused to the peel, to the rind. It's fused.
Can't eat it together. You don't nobody.
You don't have to eat it together. It's fused. Why is it's fused? So there's no issue of bar there.
זה קשור, זה לא
I
ברור.
thought fuse meaning to say that it's also possible to eat it.
No,
It's
no,
considered
fuse
one,
means-
so it's no
Fuse
different.
means that
It
it's
is
not a
feel,
mixture.
doesn't feel-
It's all one thing. You just have to derech achila is remove the peel. Okay. Anyway, now the Bir Halacha wants to deal with the issue of why is this permissible in the first place? You're removing the waste. You're taking out the solid. You're taking out the waste. So it should never be permissible. So he says that this is the derech achila. The afshar ben inacher derech achila sabikach lemikri psalos v'toich eichel. It's not considered taking the waste from the food, but rather it's considered getting to the food. It's rather considered getting to the food, therefore it'll be permissible. Says the Magen Avraham, peeling apples for later is also forbidden.
The one with the shell.
Yeah. So he writes over here, permissible to crack open walnuts or almonds on Shabbat in order to eat them immediately. Okay? You're allowed to remove the reddish skin of the peanuts in order to eat them immediately. Okay, so that would be considered not fused to the nut, right? So therefore it would have to be done for immediate usage. Okay, very good. The Pri Megadim wants to say, the Gibtzion wants to say, he says, I don't say, because Magen Avraham said you can't peel an apple in advance, because even though we say, Chamavadi says as long as it's fused, it's okay, no issue, you can peel in advance. Ashkenazim say no, still the peel should not be taken off in advance, be done immediately. The Pri Megadim wants to know why that is. He says, I can eat the peel with the fruit, right? So then it should not be considered an issue of bor at all. So the Shmirat Shabbat and the Got Moshe wants to say that the truth is, it depends on how people eat the fruit. You know, if most people are taking off the peel, then it's considered a waste, so to speak, and it has to be done immediately. Okay, we're really running out of time, Noble Tais, so we're gonna try to review a couple of the halachot a little bit quicker. Removing bones from fish. So what's the halacha when it comes to removing bones from fish? Can you do it in advance to eating? Meaning, if I'm taking the bone, I'm taking the part that's not good, the waste, from the fish, from the meat. It should be I should take the fish from the bone. So it can, but what do most people do? People remove the bone. All right? Can I do that? I don't think that's why they make it filter fish. I think they make it filter fish because it was just cheaper. No, they didn't have a lot of money, and you get fish and you grind it. It was because of the bones. I don't know. I don't know. He writes over here. The Bir Halacha writes that in his community they used to take out this fish, this big piece of fish over here, and they used to grab the bone, the spine of the fish, and pull it out before the meal, right? And he was questioning that. Can they do that? He was questioning if this can be done. And he says in the end, the Halacha says as follows, Obotai. Take a look at page 47, source 47, Hazon Ovadia. Sorting the small bones inside the fish is permitted on Shabbat, as this is the way it's eaten. It's not considered the equivalent of sorting waste from food. All regarding bones that have been detached from the fish or meat that are on the plate, one should not sort them to remove them. Rather, one should shake them to the side of the plate. So from the fish, you're allowed to remove the bones. It's considered derech achila. That's the way you eat. Okay, there are those who try to, take the bone with the fish and then, move it like that. So they're removing it. But let me say, if it's hard for a person to eat without removing the bones, he'll be allowed to remove the fish bones before he eats. Here, I'll read it clearer for you. While eating fish in Shabbat, it's permissible to pick the bones out of the fish's flesh. This is not considered a forbidden act of separating undesirable material from food. It's considered part of the eating process. So, you're allowed to remove the bones from the fish. Okay? But that's not the way the derech achila is. He's saying the derech achila is to take out the bones. And it's fine. There are those who are very mafar on this, yes. They would hold it down with the fork and the other things that they would do. But the for us, it's not a problem. You can pull out the bones, eat your fish. I recommend you pull out the bones. Yeah. Yeah. The same would be with chicken, yeah. Same would be with the chicken. What? Yeah, you can remove the bones from the fish. If you're eating fish, you can remove the bones from the fish.
People put the fish inside the mouth and then they
Yeah, some do like that. Yeah. So I'm coming to fish and I'm coming to the fish course. I can pull out the bones. No problem.
Right.
To eat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would suggest you pull out the bones. I've been around on tables where people didn't pull out the bones. The bone got stuck in someone's throat. Happened multiple times I've seen. So, Benjanjo, don't get involved in the issues. I guess you want to have a nice order. You have a head to pull out the bones. Pull out the bones. Enjoy your fish. Okay. You've seen it. Ever happened? And you never see it. You should never see it. But if it happened, I have one interesting story. I was at a seudah, and this guy, I don't know if he was machmer or whatever it was, but he got stuck. A bone got stuck. A fish bone got stuck. Probably. And he's like, and I was younger at this time. I did not know the Heimlich maneuver, and nobody at the table knew the Heimlich maneuver. And he's like, he's going over red in the face.
Whoa.
So someone came and gave him a good kick in the back. The bomb came flying out. Listen, old school, right? Okay, fine. Okay. The same true is with chicken. So if the skin on the chicken, it's permissible to remove the skin immediately before eating. It's not considered taking a pshat from the ocha. It's the way to eat. I don't eat the skin. Okay. It might depend also where you live. Some places people do eat the skin. Some places you don't eat the skin. Right. So if people eat the skin, so then it's not a borat. So it's ocha. Okay. Using a peeler. What about using a peeler? Can you use a peeler? So maybe this will answer our question from before. What does he say over here? The Yalkut Yosef. First of all, Shmir Shemar Kechadas says you can't use a peeler, but the Yalkut Yosef writing permitted peeling fruit or vegetables. It applies even to using a peeler. The one who is strict will be blessed. What's the reason that you're allowed to use a peeler? Because he's saying there's no issue of bara. So then you're allowed to use a keli. So our case before, with the liquid and the pickles, if there's no bara, then why can't you use the keli?
Hard to say.
Impossible to say that.
The question is, if you could be Madame, if want to this would be.
It's possible because it's the same situation. If you have no bar, no issue of bar. It's like, where does he say he's allowed to use the peeler? Where did I go? Yeah, put some pictures here. Here. One may peel fruits and vegetables on Shabbat using a vegetable peeler, even though it's a tool used specifically for this purpose. Because there's no issue of bar here. So you're allowed to use this keli. Anyone who's strict in this matter and refrains from using the peeler will receive a special blessing from heaven. That's the reason I wrote it in my comments because it's not bar. That was my R over here. He's allowing the peeler because he's saying there's no bar. So if there's no bar, then using the keli is not a kli bar. All right. So if you're saying there's no tarubas, there's no mixture, and there's no mixture of bar, then using a keli shouldn't be a problem, so to speak. Oh, he's saying because it's fused. No, he's not saying that. We know it's definitely a peel. You're saying it's edible. You're saying it's edible. No, but that's not the Chamavaji is not going with that. Chamavaji says as long as it's fused together, it's mechuberet. He's saying he's using all these. He's making it syrup and all these. No, it's not. It's not his reason. Because it bonded to the fruit inside. Once it's bonded, it's not considered a mixture. That's what he was saying. So if it's not considered a mixture, then you can use the kli bar. But he does say to be strict. So you can say the same thing by the pickle thing. You should be strict and not do it. Okay. But I will ask tonight, Bezat Hashem. I have a lot of things to do tonight. But I will try to ask Rav Shai Tahan and Rav Yigal Haimov. I will try to ask them both to see their take on the pickle situation in the jar. I take the one that says okay. Who? No, I'm talking of Shai Tahan. Not Lear Dahan. Shai Tahan from Brooklyn. Not Lear Dahan. I have a kesher with Shai Tahan and Rabbi Yigal Haimov, so I always send them questions. And by the way, they do send me back sometimes with different answers. So that's your job, not to go why they gave you different answers and figure out which way to go. Okay. So we talked about using a peeler. Okay, now we're coming into filtering drinks. I have 4 minutes. So filtering drinks, Lamasa, the Rambam didn't let you use a regular strainer. The Rambam, so the different issues with drinks. If it's a very clear drink, then la halacha, you will be allowed to strain it with a strainer. Because all that you're doing is just better, you're just making it, it's drinkable anyway. So using a strainer is for no reason, you'll be allowed to use a strainer. But if it's a little bit murky, not so clear, then using a strainer would be usher. You would have to use a cloth or Egyptian basket, something that's not a regular strainer. And if it's very bad, example, there are insects in the water that you really cannot filter them on Shabbat, even with a makeshift filter, there's still one way to do it. Which way you can do it? It's putting the cloth on top of the cup that you're about to drink. So not filtering it and putting it into the pitcher, but putting it onto the cup and then drinking. That's considered derech achila now. I'm not filtering to filter. I'm filtering to drink right away, and that would be permissible. That would be permissible on Shabbat for even insects in the water. He even says here in the 39 Melachot, he says they sell something online that's called a life straw. You ever heard of the life straw? You ever heard of the life straw all the time?
This one, the big one.
The life straw is a special straw they sell that you can use it in any water, and it immediately filters the water as you're drinking it. Okay, so a person goes camping, schmamping, and he doesn't know if he's going to have what's it called, clean water. He takes this life straw and he drinks the water. So he says over here, I saw it today. I'm not making this up. Here's the life straw. Here's a picture of the life straw over here. Okay, you drink from this side, you put this side into the water, and as you're picking it up, it filters it immediately. So he says there's a basis to permit a life straw that purifies contaminated water as one drinks it directly from the lake. Why? Because it's direct act of drinking. It's directly drinking. So anytime you have any bad waters and you need to filter it, you're allowed to use a cloth or a life straw, but it has to go directly to the mouth. Right? Clean water, clean stuff like that, you could filter. You can filter it with a regular strainer. The Rambam says no, but everyone else seems to saying it's okay. Shulchan Aruch brings down both of them. Mr. Brewer says, and I saw it brought down the Friday postscript as well, that you can filter clean wine if you want to put it through that ear thingy, whatever that was. That would be fine. If it's clean wine and you're just putting it in, not a problem. Yeah, so it's not a problem of using that in Shabbat. What about the water in your sink? So you want to use the water in your sink and you have the filter. So are you allowed to use that filter on Shabbat?
Built in.
Are you allowed to use it?
It's built in.
I have a special
because-
filter that I put in on my
Yeah,
sink.
yeah, I know. I have
So can I use it? So halacha is if the water is drinkable without the filter, right? It's clear, it's drinkable.
Yeah.
Most people can drink it. Then using the filter on Shabbat would be okay. Okay, there are different types of filters that may be shaylos on it, but the old school filters shouldn't be a problem. The only issue is, Rebelsky says, if you hold that New York City water is a problem because of the copods, that are in there. So you're saying in the halacha it's a problem. You have to filter it.
It is controversial.
Then you can't filter it on Shabbat.
But it is controversial.
And he says not an issue. He says the copods are not an issue.
What's the question?
I say, but those who argued with him and said it is an issue, he said that they wouldn't be able to do bora,
Controversial.
to do filter.
They say there's nothing like that.
Last issue is washing fruit. Washing fruit, we learned that you cannot soak fruit or vegetables in water on Shabbat in order for it to remove the dirt. You can't do that. But the Chacham Ovadia and Rav Moshe both say that you could wash them under a sink, under a stream of water is different than soaking it. Soaking it, you're separating it. When you're putting it in the sink, you're not separating it, you're just washing it. The dirt from the fruit. So there's dirt. There's cases that there was dirt on the fruit. You can't soak it, but you could put it under the sink. Rinsing or washing fruits or vegetables from pesticides on the surface with denting is permitted. So if there's dirt or dust, one may cause water from the faucet to flow over them with the intent to eat them immediately to the Chazon Ovadia, but you would not be able to soak them into water in order for it to come off.
In some states, the water is not drinkable.
Ah,
From the faucet.
yeah.
So they're not allowed to use filter.
Yeah,
On Shabbat?
you would have to prepare the water in it.
The life.
Or if you would use a live straw, or you take it in a cup and then put the cloth over it and drink it like that. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to filter it straight from the sink on Shabbat. Because if he's saying it's not drinkable, then you can't filter it.
The cloth onto the faucet. During Erev Shabbat, and then I just open it.
Are you
Like,
drinking
okay,
from the
like,
faucet?
Yeah, we drink it from the faucet.
No, are you drinking directly from the faucet?
It's on the top.
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't. You can't.
The water.
Yeah.
The faucet comes into my cup.
No, you can't do that. It has to come from the filter straight into your mouth. You put it on the faucet and you're drinking from the faucet, it's not a problem. But if you're putting it on the thing, it says not drinkable water.
It is. That was drinkable.
No, doesn't work that way. Okay, it has to be directly from the filter to the mouth. If it's undrinkable water, you can only do it that way, directly from the filter to the mouth. Okay, we have a minyan. אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגיד תורה וידיר.
Dad,